You know what? Gotta be honest, I've never heard such BS in all of my 50 years of being on this planet when it comes to hearing about what's happened to this country in the last 4 months, yeah? And what these politicians, these people that care for us, have been telling us for the last 4 months. And it's, you know what, it doesn't really take much intelligence really, right, to find out exactly what is going on. And I gotta tell people, we're being hoodwinked, we've been had, we've been bamboozled. And the saddest thing about all of this, right, is that people have died because of these lies. People have suffered. People have not been able to see their young ones die. Think about that. Children have died without their parents. What wicked government will allow that to happen in the so-called modern era? Tell me. Unless people wake up and, as I say, smell the coffee, they're going to take us down the road of destruction. When I'm telling people, yeah, wake up and join the dots together. Because we've had nothing but misinformation and lies from our media, from our politicians, and from everybody. And for those who can't see through it, yeah, look, everybody wakes up at their own time. So I can't even criticize you, because there are a lot of people in this country that are really fearful and scared, and for them I feel sorry. But what I'm angry about is those who are responsible for putting that fear on masses of the public that are basically too frightened to come out their front doors now because they think that they're going to catch COVID-19. I should have put that in question marks actually, really, innit? Because when it comes to a disease which really hasn't been proven to be a disease, it's been proven to be nothing more than the seasonal flu. Actually, looking on the Office of National Statistics, it actually says that this year is the lowest amount of deaths we've had in 5 years. Now, all I'll tell people, yeah, people have been dying in this country since the incept of this country, but we've been made to believe that only people die these days of coronavirus. I looked on the Office of National Statistics, I just typed in, how many people died of cancer last year? And it said 165,000 people. I put, how many people die of heart attack? And it said about 65,000 people died with coronary diseases related to the heart. So that's over 230,000 people right there alone that die every year in this country of just those two diseases, nothing else. But we haven't locked the country down for that. We haven't told everybody to go indoors, never come outside, put on a mask, give away your rights, your human rights, give away your freedoms, freedom of speech as well, because you can't say nothing because you're censored. For 44,000 people that have died, and as I say, every death is a person, you understand? But I'm saying that those people that died didn't have to die. We've got a population of 65 million people in the UK. 44,000 people they've said have died from COVID-19. They've announced it that nearly 3/4 of those were in the old people's homes. So let's be conservative and say half was in the old people's homes. That leaves you, what, 22,000? And on the Office of National Statistics, they were saying that the deaths that they registered, COVID-19 was put on the death certificate if they had tested positive after they died. So these people died of whatever they died from: cancer, heart disease, liver disease, respiratory problems, the things that people die from every day. But COVID-19 was put on their death certificate. So when you look at that figure of 22,000 people, how many of those had COVID-19 put on their death certificate when they actually died of other things? Subtract that number, and then what number are you left with? And as I said, every death is a death which is mournable, but is 10, 12,000 deaths worth closing down our whole economy, putting 1 in 4 adults out of work, plunging this country into debt that they said will take 300 years to come out of. The amount of deaths that this lockdown is going to cause through starvation, through misery, deprivation, loneliness, will outweigh the deaths that they so-called try to save, innit? We've got 7 billion people on this planet, not even 500,000 people have died. We've had pandemics and plagues throughout history. Bombs were falling through the sky in the Second World War. We didn't close down. So what I'm telling people to do, yeah, connect the dots. And for this face mask thing, I've had a discussion this morning on LBC, and they said, right, want everybody to call in. Why don't you want to wear a face mask? What is it that you've got against face masks? Let's hear all the arguments. Let's hear all the reasoning about it. And what do? They got 2 doctors that were pro face masks. All of the callers were pro face mask. And the minute somebody tried to say, well, they've seen certain documents and articles from doctors and that, he basically shut them down and goes, oh, I don't know where these websites are coming from. Oh, it must be all rubbish. Didn't get a doctor on to have a proper debate. No, they wouldn't do that, would they? Because they know that they would get wiped. The floor would be wiped with them. Because the doctors that I've heard debate this, why don't they allow them to come on the media and have a good discussion? But they won't do it. And that's what's going on in America. That is just a joke as well. It really, really is. I hear people cussing down Trump, but they want, so I take it that they want Joe Biden. Yeah? Do you know Joe Biden? Do you know his history when he was serving under Bill Clinton? Do you know what he was responsible for when it comes to black people and the 3 strikes and you're out? Do your history, man, right? And I'll tell you what, I've never seen it before in my life where you've got the leader of a country, the chief in command, doing a speech here, and CNN, which is American network, they don't show it. Look, I understand all the politics that goes on in politics on the run up to an election, but what I do understand is once the leader has been elected democratically, the country's supposed to get behind it, innit? And you know, for 4 years since the American election, every day CNN have absolutely berated, hounded, and absolutely maligned President Trump for 4 years. What is that about? How can you have the leader of a country being hounded left, right and centre every single day for 4 years? Where's the balance? You know, where's the balance? What's going on? I mean, that it looks like it's so obvious that CNN are on an agenda. Because even in this country, we'll have our Prime Minister that does good, we'll have our Prime Minister that does bad. And we will get a balanced, constructive argument on both ways on the news. But one thing our country wouldn't do is if Boris Johnson was making a speech on his rally, I'm sure that they would air it on television at least, because at the end of the day, he is the actual Prime Minister of this country. But in America, no, they don't do it. So you know what? I ain't going to go too further into that, but I'm just going to tell people, yeah, wake up, smell the coffee, because we've been bamboozled, and we've been hoodwinked. Big time, yeah? Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe.